Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Dr. Nafi, and the topic for my presentation is Teen Heal Social Media Survey Report from UAE. UAE, also known as United Arab Emirates, it's a Middle Eastern country. If UAE is famous for one place, one of its emirates, and that's Dubai. Dubai is the international hub. We welcome millions of visitors every year. It is known for its vibrant nightlife, luxurious shopping, and of course, definitely the skyscrapers. It's a country that consists of 10 million of population, 11% of which are Emiratis or the locals. So the capital of UAE is Abu Dhabi. We have got 7 emirates here in the UAE. You've got your Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Sharjah, Ajman, Al Quwain, Ras Al Khaimah, Fujairah. So these are the iconic landmarks. We have a lot of this, many of these, but these are the few that is very famous. This is our Burj Khalifa, the tallest building on this earth. This is Burj Al Arab, 7-star hotel. This is Ferrari World, where we have the fastest roller coaster in the world. We have many more iconic landscapes. These are just few that I had to present. So moving on to my presentation. So we had this survey, and the survey had 13 questions. Few of the questions were generic questions that asked which part of the world are you from, what is your age, what is your gender. Rest of the question asked about you to rate from 1 to 5. So I had collected 160 responses from the UAE. So let's see. The first question that was asked is which part of the world are you coming from, and state the emirates. So I did not include that question because again, it's understood I'm collecting the data from UAE. So the second question is, what is your age in years? Most of our responders belong to the age group from 17 to 18 years of age, followed by 22 and 28 years, followed by 19 years and 20 years. What is your gender? Most of our responders were females, which was around 63.7%, and we had male responders, they were around 36.3%. How much time during the day do you spend on social media on your phone? So this had criteria, 1 to 2 hours per day, 2 to 3 hours per day, or more than 3 hours per day. Most of our responders, 51.9% of them spend more than 3 hours per day, followed by 2 to 3 hours per day, followed by 1 to 2 hours per day. Which social media platform do you use the most? So the social media platform that is used the most in UAE is Instagram, followed by WhatsApp, followed by TikTok, Snapchat, and Facebook. Now we come to the scale question. So these were the questions where we had asked the population to scale it. On a scale of 1 to 5, how would you rate your overall social media usage? So when you see the readings, 35% of our responders were neutral. So neutral is either you're unsure about it or either you don't want to answer the question. 21 to 29% of them responded saying that they have high to very high usage of social media. And very little of them, which was around 6 to 7% of them, responded saying little to no usage. On a scale of 1 to 5, how much of your social media use is influenced by your friends or classmates? So here, basically, we asked them to respond, to asking them, was there any sort of peer pressure? Did they have the classmates pressuring them to use social media? 30% of them, again, neutral, either unsure or didn't want to answer. 23.1% of them responded saying no, they were not at all influenced by their peers. Very little of them, which was around 6.3% of them, were very strongly influenced by their peers. On a scale of 1 to 5, how much time do you spend thinking about social media or planning how to use it? So this question basically asked, is there any sort of prior planning that goes before you use social media? 25 to 30% of them have commented saying they don't spend much time. So they use it. I mean, they use it. They have the social media, they use it. But very little of them, which was around 9.4%, apparently they spend a lot of time thinking prior. Should I use it? Should I not use it? So there is some prior planning going behind the scene. On a scale of 1 to 5, how strong of an urge do you feel to use social media more and more? So here, basically the question had asked, is there an urge? Rate your urge. Do you feel like you have that urge, intense urge that you need to use social media? 28.1% of them are neutral about this fact, unsure or didn't want to answer. 18.1% of them, they said no, they don't have an urge of using social media. But not very far away from 18.1%, 16.3% of them have commented saying that no, they have very high urge in using social media. On a scale of 1 to 5, how often do you use social media to forget about personal problems? So here basically they asked, did you use your social media as a distraction from your personal problems? 20.6% of our responders they responded saying very often. So social media was their distractor from their personal life or personal problems. 13.8% of them commented saying never. They never used social media as a personal, as a distractor. It was something they used because they wanted to use it. On a scale of 1 to 5, have you been successful in cutting down the use of social media? Here, they basically meant, was there any cutting down? If you use social media, did you try to reduce it? 30.6% of them neutral, either unsure or did not want to comment. 13.23% of them were not successful in cutting down their social media usage. And around 11 to 20% of them, they were successful. So that is something good. They were successful in cutting down their social media usage. On a scale of 1 to 5, how restless or troubled do you become if you are prohibited from social media usage? So here, basically, the question is asking, if you're not given your social media, do you feel restless? Do you feel troubled? Is there some sort of intense emotion related to not getting to use your social media? 29.4% of the respondents, they were not at all troubled. So that is a good thing. But 9.4%, which is again a very small amount of respondents, they were very restless or troubled if they were not given that social media or if they were not using it. The last question asked in the survey, it was a 13-question based survey. So the last question was, on a scale of 1 to 5, how would you rate the extent of social media use? How would you rate the extent to use social media use has a negative impact on studies? So here, basically, they're asking, is there a negative impact on your education because of social media? This was an interesting finding. 26.3%, they were neutral. They didn't want to comment, or they were unsure about the fact whether it had an impact or not. Whereas rest 26.3%, they commented saying no negative impact. But not very far away from 26.3%, 20.6% of them said that there is a highly negative impact on their education. So this is probably the population that we need to be working on as well. So this brings me to the conclusion. The conclusion is, this is just the survey data from UAE. UAE is just one country from the entire world. We need bigger data. Why do we need bigger data? So that we could come out with analysis, better interpretation, and in case if there is an impact, negative impact, we need to work on it. There has to be. This is how we figure out ideas. How can we work on social media addiction? Each question may need a sub-question, which means the last question that was asked, is there a negative impact? So if there is a negative impact, if yes is the answer, what is the impact? Eye strain, headache, personal problems, academic problems. So few questions might require sub-questions, and that is the reason why. The more deeper you go with questions, it might get more difficult and it might take longer to interpret, but that way we can work on deeper level. We can bring out strategies where we can help our students, the future, or even the adults at a deeper level. So this is the take-home message from my presentation. Students are the future, they're the youth. So we need to be working on social media addiction, nevertheless. So the main thing is that it is not one person's job. It requires a collaborative effort. We need an army. We need the teachers, because if there is an addiction, we need our teachers. They need to bring the curriculum. They need to put those rules and regulations out there. We need the public health officers. We need the statisticians, because we need somebody to bring the data, interpret the data, analyze it, and then come up with solutions. So it's again, students are the future, but it is not one person's job. We need an army. We need a collaboration. So this brings me to the end of my presentation. Thank you.